Welcome everyone. If you're new here, my name is Lexi. Behind the camera is Sam, and this is Happy Travel RV. So for the past year, we have taken this travel trailer here, this 35-foot travel trailer, up and down the East Coast through 13 different states. It's been an adventure. Look at this blue. Oh, this is phenomenal. We thought we would take this time to reflect on what we wish we would have known before we hit the road. So here's 13 different things we wish we would have known. So number 13 on the things we wish we would have known before hitting the road was how hard it is to use these RV ovens. We use this for a little bit of extra storage because we don't have a lot of cabinets in here. Just make sure if you put stuff in here, don't let it hit the heating element in your oven if you like your oven to work. One of the challenges of this oven is it makes your food dry and burns the bottom of your food. And the temperature is very inaccurate. So you ready for me to light this oven?
Yeah, good luck.
Really kidding. I don't like this thing. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Since our sparker doesn't work, I have to come down here with a lighter and hold it down here and then turn the gas on at the same time. Not going to do it because we'll burn all of our stuff we store in there. Number 12 is going to be the Campground Lones. What I mean by that is a lot of the parks that you go to, the people don't actually mingle with one another. They kind of just stay in their trailers, kind of like what you do in your normal home. People are living there. And unless there's scheduled activities, then a lot of people don't even step foot outside the door to say hi to their neighbors. So it can be kind of hard to form any kind of a meaningful relationship or lasting relationship when you leave every 2 weeks. You get to a park and then they're leaving. So you can meet people, but making friends can be a challenge. Just keep that in mind.
And now for number 11, the challenges of owning a gas truck with a long travel trailer.
Gas truck. What do you mean? What's wrong with owning a gas truck? Well, it may not be obvious, but when you start traveling, you're going to have a camper behind you. And when your camper is really long, like ours is 35 foot that direction, and our truck's 20 feet this direction. So we're 55 feet. When you can't really fit 55 feet into a lot of pumps, you can fit into them, but getting out of them, your tail swing is a major issue. So you must know where to get gas. Yeah, if you have a diesel truck, you can just pull up to the big truck stop pumps, and they're made for trucks. So it's real simple to get in and out of there, but not necessarily the gas pumps. So be aware of that. So number 10 is unhitching. When you're on the road, you're gonna have to unhitch. So sometimes the jack doesn't raise up high enough to get it off the truck. Well, our truck sits kind of high, and sometimes when the ground is high here or low here, it doesn't raise up high enough. We learned that the hard way, and we got these guys now, but when we first started, we didn't, and we set it on the ground, and we had troubles with that. So that's something we wish we'd have known. Also, sometimes when you're removing the trailer from the hitch, it will get stuck on the ball. And a way that I get it off is I wait till it gets until there's no pressure on the ball, but it's not off. And I kind of move it around and give it some kicks with my foot here. And then that loosens it up in there, and then it slides right off. But when we first unhitched our very first time, it didn't. We didn't know that. We raised the whole truck up almost off the ground. This little hydraulic jack can really lift some weight. And then it finally came out, and it came down jamming real hard. But learn how to unhitch before you go putting your life on the line, guys.
Number 9, it's not always easy getting your mail and packages delivered when you're on the road. Unless you stay seasonably somewhere, then you can have your mail delivered there. But we generally move every week or so. So sometimes you never know when there's shipping delays and then you're somewhere else. So that's a challenge. We've been to a lot of Walmarts. We do a lot of Walmart shopping. They're pretty consistent through everywhere we go. Every town, always has a Walmart. One other thing we do, we order off Amazon, so we can always have stuff sent to Amazon lockers where we can go pick it up when it's convenient for us, but not everything can be delivered to an Amazon locker, as it turns out. So we also send stuff to the UPS stores, different stuff like that to try to get packages, but mostly we just don't have things shipped to us. So we use a mail forwarding service, and they collect all of our mail for us, and then when we get to a location that we know we're going to be at, they will take a package and send it to us. So mail.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Get your mail right. So number 8, we wish we would have known we needed Big Rig GPS. So we started out with Google Maps just like anybody would, right? Well, anybody that didn't do research. And they took us down it took us to several sketchy places. So then we discovered the RV Life app, and it has RV safe maps on it. Thank God.
We use the RV Life Trip Wizard app. We have the pro version of that, so it gives us GPS directions from campground to campground. You can find a campground in the area to make sure that your route is safe for you before you go.
So without that app, we would really be suffering. But they do make something that's better than the app that we use. You can always use a trucker GPS. So number 7 is going to be, we wish we knew what it's like to live off 30 amps of power. What does 30 amps actually look like? Watts divided by volts equals your amps. So that's a rough equation on how to get how many amps you're actually using with each item. If you're using 1500 watts and 120 volts, you divide the watts by the volts, you get 12.5. So you're using 12.5 amps, and you only have 30. So simple math can be used to understand how much you're using. And you need to know this, or you'll be throwing your breaker.
So let's put them to the test. This hair dryer is 1,875 watts.
1800 watts.
How many amps is that?
We have 120 volts, so 1825 divided by 120 is roughly 18 amps. Thumbs up to you, amps. Not really, it's more like 16 amps. But there you go. So if you use a hair dryer and your air conditioner, you're gonna blow your fuses. So number 6 is, we wish we knew we would always be leveling. We have to use our Andersons on every single site. Now, ironically, this week we didn't. But that's something you need to really consider when you're thinking about being on the road full time, is leveling and stability. Each rig levels differently. Each rig stabilizes differently. Be sure to learn how your stabilizes before you take it out. Okay, so the guys at the dealership should tell you how to level it, how to stabilize it, but if you buy it from a person, be sure that that person also shows you how to make it stable and make it level. You think, well, just put the stabilizers down and you got it. You can go inside. Well, you can, but you better get used to being seasick because these things wobble. Now, you can buy something called JT Strong Arms. They use triangulation to keep your trailer from wobbling, and they work great. We just haven't invested in it yet, but they're on our list. Another thing that helps with stabilization is something called an X-chalk. If you haven't heard of those are little chalks that go in between your wheels, and they look like an X. Check this out. You put it in right here, and it pushes on both sides of the wheel, stops it from going up and down, and stops your wheels from moving. We just use regular heavy-duty chalks.
So we bought this fancy device that's supposed to be Bluetooth to your phone. Let me show you.
What's it called?
It's called a LevelMate Pro. And so we mounted it in our basement. If you didn't know, this is what a basement is. Go to your basement when it storms. It's right back in there, in this mess hole. What people call a basement.
You thought about our mess. No, not a good idea.
Anyways, LevelMate Pro, that's what that is. Do we use it? We would like to. Have we? Yes. Is it wrong? Every time. So, you know, we'll get it together one day. Number 5, how scary severe storms are in an RV.
Well, that weather can be bad sometimes, can't it?
It is. And how are you going to be prepared?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean by weather? So what we mean by weather is, where do you go when the weather's bad? You can't stay in your camper. So we always try to find the closest building to where we're at. In this case, it's right in front of us.
Now, it's always a good idea to check your local forecast and often. That way, you can be prepared with a grab and go bag. You put your important documents in there, such as your IDs, your insurance cards, any essential medicines you would need, maybe a phone charger, some flashlights, a weather radio, and maybe a small towel to dry yourself off when you get rained on the way to your shelter.
This structure is much stronger than a camper, so that's where we go to, the laundry room. Yeah, when you move towns each week, you need to know which town has bad storms. And when they do, what kind of storms are they? Are they hurricanes? Are they tornadoes?
flood,
Are they floods? Are they earthquakes?
tsunami,
What are your natural disasters? And that natural disasters down here in
fires.
Florida are obvious. They're hurricanes, winds, rain, storms. They can have tornadoes down here too.
Yeah. Since we never know where we are, we rely a lot on Ryan Hall, y'all. If you haven't seen that channel before, make sure you check that out. But he gives you specific information on areas that are being affected by storms. And he has storm chasers all over the place that are getting footage. He will literally tell you if you are in the path of a tornado. So make sure that you're subscribed to that channel and ours, of course.
When you're on the road, campers don't really hold up to the wind that well. So that's why weather is very important, and you need to know ahead of time what the weather is going to be like. We look at the weather constantly when we're on the road, especially for travel days. If you happen to travel on a windy day, may God be with you. So when the weather gets going, these get going. These are called flappers. That's what we call them. And they protect your slide protectors. But they are very, very loud during a rainstorm. They flap up and down and smack in this void here. There's several things you can do to prevent that, but that is something to think about when you're traveling full time. It may seem obvious, but there's something you shouldn't forget, and something we wish we had known dearly, was to bring in our awnings when it rains. With rain, there's usually wind, and with wind, you can lose your awnings. We have been lucky. We saw our neighbors get theirs ripped off on multiple occasions. I mean, they come right off. You think they'd stick them on there with something better. You think they put some glue up there or something. They just pop right off.
So just remember, if you don't close your awnings, they may become gonings. Number 4 on the list is we wish we would have known how tough campground washers and dryers are on your clothes. We've lost a lot of good clothes because the washers will tear holes in them, and the dryers are so hot, or they just don't work at all and you have to spend extra money. It's always a challenge to find a good washer. And then there's methods of payment. So, if you don't always have coins on you, sometimes you can't do your laundry.
If you wonder what a campground laundry room looks like, let us show you.
Like this one's not bad. They don't have
this is actually a good one.
my favorite forms of payments
But
in
you
here.
can only pay with, how can you pay in here? Can you use your card
these are
like any
coins?
normal place you can go? No, not here. You can only use old-fashioned coins.
So these are coins only.
Oh, well, let's just change in our dollar bills for coins then, guys. Well, there's no coin changer either. And that's not just this place. That's every place we've been to.
So to do a load of laundry in here, it's going to cost you $2 in coins right here. But this right here is a big washer. So a lot of them you see are the same price and smaller. But this one's, that's a pretty big washer there.
It's a pretty good sized washer. What I think is a regular home size washer.
And so it actually says right here that the washer will give you $2 for 30 minutes to wash and $2 for 60 minutes to dry. So
One of the main reasons we mentioned the laundry, something that you might not consider, is the laundromat. Laundry machines can destroy your clothes. We've lost quite a few clothes to the laundry monster. So something to keep in mind. You might want to only bring your t-shirts and your undies.
Number 3, we wish we would have known we would always be cleaning this camper, and just it was always going to happen. It's never going to be clean. You're just always going to be cleaning. There's dirt everywhere.
When you have a baby and a dog and 2 adults, you have a lot of dirt.
So number 2 on the list of things we wish we would have known before we started our full-time RV adventure is anything about RV holding tanks, because it's been a journey.
You need to know about your tank sensors, if they're working or not, how to make them work. What's that smell? Is somebody cooking an egg? It's the great tank. So the great tank stinks too. Just let you know as much as you can know about those tanks, and save up some money to get them cleaned. So the number one thing about living in an RV that we wish we had known before we left is how small our rig actually is. If we'd have bought a big rig, I wouldn't have big bruises on my forehead. Take a look.
Are you too long for this broom?
Check this out. No pillows. Just me in the bed. Oh, it's my brain noggin. And that's something we wish we should have done, was check out the bed a little bit more in detail.
Okay, so that wraps it up. That's 13 things we wish we would have known before we hit the road.
Yeah, so that's 13, guys, and we are wrapping it up.
Okay, so on the count of 3, you're gonna answer yes or no. Here's the question. Rewind time before we got our trailer, and someone says, all right, you ready for this opportunity? Do you still go on it? Ready? Answer after 3. 1, 2, 3.
Heck yeah.
Okay, well, there we go.
Looks like we're staying, guys. We're never leaving Florida.
Sit down,
12.
Lily.
That's right, guys. We thought that being in a campground would. Oh.
What are you doing, babe?
Ready to go?
Looks good.
Hey, dude, do the dishes, Sam. Gotcha. Dishes are done.
What are you doing in the basement? Thank you for sticking around to the end.
Thought you had something to say.
No, I just wanted to be on the camera with you.